Welcome to episode 4 of the Trash Talk podcast. Today, once again, I will be explaining to you why I think your team's garbage and will never succeed at anything in the NBA. Today, I have a very, very special guest with me, joining me all the way from the MKEBucks subreddit, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Jethro Barnes. Jethro, welcome.
Thank you very much. I am here, and I'm very happy to be here.
Good. Let's get to the most important question of the day. What qualifies you to express your opinion on the Milwaukee Bucks? Why do you think your opinion is more valid than anyone else's?
That's a great question. It comes down to three things. 1, I got a shit ton of Reddit karma. 2, I've been to Milwaukee. And 3, I've been following the Bucks for a couple of years. I'd say close to 3.5 years now. I follow them closely. I know about the cap situation. You know, I read graphs and things. I know what's going on.
Do you read Reddit shit posts?
I make Reddit shit posts. That's
the
I got
most
here.
important thing. That's the most important thing.
I'll look up my karma now, but yeah, go on.
It's probably far too many for any person living.
No one's going to comprehend it.
No.
34,000.
That's far too much, man. That's far too much. Anyway.
Yes.
On a more serious note, I want to talk about the upcoming season that the Bucks are about to have, the 2018-2019 season.
The season that changes it all.
The season.
My words.
I'll take your word for it. We had a couple of changes to the Bucks this offseason.
Yep.
We lost Jabari to the Chicago Bulls. We've added one Dante DiVincenzo. We've added a Brook Lopez. We've added an Ersan Ilyasova. Few interesting pieces there. Removal of a problem piece in Jabari. We'll get into that a bit later, though.
Yep.
But for now, I want to hear, what's your take? What do you think the Bucks are going to be achieving? Are we looking at a top 3 seed? Are we looking at a Giannis MVP? Eastern Conference Finals? What are we going to see?
Okay. So the biggest impact that we're going to have, the biggest thing that's going to impact what we do is going to be the coaching staff. We've been under the coaching staff of Jason Kidd and his cronies for 2 years now. That fucks up everything we've got. Mike Budenholzer and his thing and his staff and all that stuff, he's getting us, I would say, minimum top 5 seed. We're aiming for 3 though, easily aiming for 3. Because we've still got to consider Boston, they're an easy 1 and 2, 1 or 2, my apologies. And then
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia, to be honest. I was going to say the Raptors, but I don't believe in the Raptors anymore. No one really does, let's be honest.
Yeah, well...
Yeah. So we're aiming for the 3 spot. And from there, look, if we make it past the first round already, we've exceeded what's expected of us at this point, which is sad but true. But yeah, maybe Eastern semis. Wait, that is the second round. Eastern, you're right. Eastern finals, probably. Yeah, I would say we can make the Eastern finals, yeah.
What about Giannis? What do you expect out of him?
In terms of leadership or stats?
Think about his stats. Think about, are we looking at top 5 MVP?
Top 3?
Oh,
okay, yeah. So big picture stuff. MVP candidate. He's going to be in that top 3. The awards ceremony bullshit they've got going on. He's going to be a candidate there for sure. Yeah. Probably top 5 in scoring in the season as well, among players.
Well, I think he did that last season, so fingers crossed he'll get a repeat of that.
I thought he was 8th.
In scoring?
Yeah.
I thought he was averaging something like 27. Anyway.
Okay.
He's looking to have a big scoring output. He's looking to rebound. He's looking to get a few assists out of the power forward position. With a few of the roster changes, Giannis might be looking at shifting anywhere from 3 to 5, maybe, depending on what Mike Budenholzer wants to run. But we won't really know for sure until the upcoming season and the first few games are out.
Yep.
So, let's talk about our first point. I want to talk about the impact of the loss of Jabari to the Chicago Bulls on the team. Now, in the off-season, we've seen there's been some turmoil between Jabari and the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, definitely. In
my opinion, I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks have done nothing but treated Jabari very fairly. They've handled his injury well. It's been, the whole organization has been a class act. So I don't really know what Jabari's problem was. Obviously, there was something a bit more deep-seated there.
My take on it is this. Whilst as an organization, we've done what we feel is right by him, for sure. We've offered him money. We've offered him to stay. We've given him all the help and rehab and minutes and stuff that we feel is reasonable in his time back from his second ACL tear. But I feel like there's a mentality with Jabari where he was the second overall pick in his draft class. He had a Sports Illustrated cover where he's like, the next LeBron James of high school or whatever.
The best high school player since LeBron James.
Exactly. So there's definitely a little bit of self-expectations from him where he's like, I've got to be the guy to some degree. And when he's out there, he's getting maybe 15 minutes a game. Granted, to his injuries, I'm sure he recognizes that. He feels he should be paid more. Money we can't afford to give him, especially with his history. So he just, I think it's a matter of wanting more money, wanting to be having a bigger role, which there isn't really room for at this stage with, Giannis doing Giannis and Chris just getting better every year, it seems. If you watch his playoffs, it's what the fuck. Jabari didn't do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you take into account the fact that Jabari's had a negative impact on the court at all times for his defense. It's true. Really not the kind of thing we would spend what he wanted like $20 million a year for.
Yeah.
The Bulls can risk it though. They can go do whatever they want. Fuck the Bulls.
Yeah. The Bulls are a young team. They've got the cap space for it, and it seems like from almost day one, Jabari has expressed interest in playing for his hometown team as a Chicago kid.
Big time. Yeah. One of his post-draft statements was like, "I'm so glad to be playing so close to home."
Yeah.
Like, oh boy, red flag, bang.
Yeah. Well, that's always going to be a bit of an impact on a team when they want to offer a contract. If the player's not willing to take a long-term contract, a la LeBron signing a bunch of 1-on-1s for Cleveland in his second stint there, the team's going to be less likely to be able to attract free agents and kind of put a supporting roster around them when the best player or one of the key players like Jabari is not going to be able to commit long-term.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for free agents.
Looking back on Jabari's 2017-18 season, his scoring was pretty inefficient. He never really... Great. I don't think he ever cracked 30 points.
No,
I don't know if he ever cracked 20
points. He cracked 20 once or twice.
Once or twice.
It wasn't very impressive, though. It was a lot of shots.
He played power forward off the bench after returning from his second ACL tear. He played limited minutes. His rebounding numbers were a bit lackluster, but he's never really been a great rebounder. He's always been more of a scorer, more of a stretch player.
Yeah.
His opinion has always seemed to be inconsistent towards the Bucks franchise, which is what we're just saying. I also kind of get the feeling that he might have been unhappy with how his injuries were handled for whatever reason, because during the times when he was going through rehab, that seemed to be the height of when he was expressing disinterest with playing with the Bucks.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And if we're looking back on the last season, the whole season, the Bucks had not as much success as many people were hoping, but Giannis had a great season, and they took the Eastern Conference Finals Celtics to 7 games, which was a really, really great series. And that was the whole series and a whole regular season without Jabari. So it's not like the Bucks were expected to be...
We didn't need him, per se, to be who he was drafted to be.
No.
We could do without.
The Bucks seemed to be pretty effective and seemed to run a good system after the mid-season when they acquired Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Aquadagger. Can you just explain why it's called Aquadagger?
So it is a 100% official, real, legitimate nickname that I have on a shirt. But user Swap Meet Pete, who I actually had dinner with one night when I was over there. Lovely guy. He drove me and my friend Griffin to Cops Burgers in Milwaukee, or somewhere a little bit outside of it. He put some things into a random name generator and we got Aquadagger and we just ran with it for the hills. And so
that's been adopted by the subreddit.
By the subreddit. And a little more interesting is that when I was over there at the halftime, I was sitting on the bench with a couple of guys and we were speaking to Bledsoe for a little bit. We asked him about it. He knows 100% about it.
Really?
He 100% has seen the endless tweets about Aquadagger. But he says he prefers the Bledsoe, which, I mean, all right, whatever you say, buddy.
That makes sense.
This is why you've been traded twice.
So you kind of claim some responsibility for the conception of the name Aquadagger.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm responsible for it, but I definitely pushed it. A lot of us pushed it.
You were there for its...
I was there in the post. I was in the post, yeah. On the post, not in the post. I'm only like 5'11". I don't get in the post.
That's understandable. Well, now you know. Now you know.
That's where it's from.
The source of the name Aquadagger. The mystery has been cleared.
Google it. Get a shirt.
Don't buy the shirt.
Damn it.
Okay. So we've covered Jabari. Now let's look into the future of the Bucks a bit more. That whole situation's behind us. I want to look at a player they inquired in the draft, which I think was a fantastic pick at number 17.
The big ragu.
Dante DiVincenzo, the young Michael Rappaport.
The Michael Jordan of Delaware.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. He's from Delaware.
I'll take your word for it. I was actually watching a video the other day, and I don't think there's been a single NBA player from Delaware.
Whoa, what?
A single successful NBA player from Delaware that I've ever heard of. There's been a bunch from all over the place, but Delaware's one, which I've never seen. So your boy DiVincenzo might be the first.
That's my man.
We'll see.
God damn.
So just looking back on DiVincenzo's last college season, he had a really, really good NCAA finals game. He dropped 30 points, leading scorer. Did you watch that game? What did you think of his performance in the college season?
I didn't have any NCAA coverage. I had a little bit at work, but they banned ESPN at work because everyone would watch basketball and not serve
Yeah.
customers.
Right.
I didn't have any coverage at home though. I just saw highlights.
Fair enough. We have it rough here in Australia. We're kind of slumming it a bit.
Yeah.
We don't have a great selection of NBA sports to watch, but
We have to manage our ground harnesses most of the time so we don't fall off the earth,
yeah, exactly.
being on the bottom and whatnot.
So in terms of DiVincenzo's value that he's going to provide, he was a mid-first round pick. I think he's got the potential to be a really great player. He seems to be kind of an everyman. He seems to be able to do everything well. He kind of reminds me... I hate comparing white players to white players and black players to black players.
Shut up, Chauncey Billups.
But it's just... They just always work together.
It does.
DiVincenzo, he's like a...
Don't say Tyler Johnson. I hate Tyler Johnson.
Definitely not Tyler Johnson. I wasn't going to
Alright.
say Tyler Johnson. In terms of, you get these players like the Paul Georges, the Gordon Haywards, which kind of run the small forward shooting guard position, but they're able to do everything effectively.
Oh, yeah.
I would say. So I think with DiVincenzo, that's going to be great because he'll be able to provide kind of immediate relief to the bench, and he'll be able to really be utilized very effectively in a system run by Budenholzer.
Oh, yeah.
He's almost like a Doncic light in a way because he kind of serves the same purpose. He's a skilled forward. He's a wing. He can shoot the ball. He can pass the ball. He's deceptively athletic. He had a really great...
Highest vert at the combine, 42
I know,
inches.
he
Still
did.
tied
It was-
first, but that's wild.
It was really, really impressive. He had a really great NBA draft combine.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely think he's going to be someone to look out for. I think he'll definitely be part of the Bucks' future plans.
Oh, yeah. His dad was a Bucks fan when he was younger, so that kind of helps in terms of keeping him long term if he's really good.
Yeah. So that's always a plus when you're looking to keep a young player around.
Especially in a small market.
Yeah. If the Bucks are looking to make an Eastern Conference Finals push this year, do you reckon you're going to be relying on young players like DiVincenzo to provide?
We're definitely gonna have a set expectation of him if we were to go as far as we would like, being the ECF. He'll probably come off the bench. That's fine, but there's gonna be a lot of, I don't want to say pressure, but there's gonna be a lot of what we want him to do. He's gonna need to do a lot. He's gonna need to at least like off the bench score like 10.
He's
I
going
know
to
it
have.
doesn't-
He's going to
doesn't
have
feel
a
like a
role.
big
and
number,
he's going to
but-
have a role, and he's going to need to fulfill it if the Bucks.
Yeah,
want to
that's
succeed.
that's what I was getting at basically.
And you've seen with Mike Budenholzer, he's been able to develop young players very well. I know the head coach doesn't always have his primary concern is not always player development, but you have players like Schroeder who
Kent Bazemore was a good
as well.
example under Budenholzer.
young players who have potential who've really seemed to flourish under a Budenholzer system. He really seems to get the most out of his role players.
Yeah.
That's Dante DiVincenzo. Look for him to be a successful piece in the Bucks roster next season. I want to move on to the main player in the Bucks system. Let's look at
Tony Snell. No, it's not Tony Snell.
Let's look at Tony Snell. Tony Snell is going to be making another push for MVP.
Yup.
Maybe his sidekick Giannis will do something. It's probably not though.
He never does. He's useless.
No, he never seems to do anything.
I mean, there's literally, Tony Snell's the perfect man. He's got a fine-ass girlfriend. He's handsome. He shoots the three.
He had 0-0-0-0.
Hey, that's not easy. You go out on an NBA court and not get a rebound or an accidental assist. That's hard.
Hey man, don't tempt me. I'll gladly take a Tony
I'll
Snell
do it.
contract to get 0 stats in a game. But no, on a more serious note,
Yeah,
Giannis.
yeah.
Giannis is going to be wanting a push for MVP. He's got his signature shoe coming out, the Greek Freak ones.
Yeah, I'm waiting for those.
You're going to be getting a pair of those?
I'm buying those. Even if my current basketball shoes are fine, I'm gonna buy them.
Yeah. You have to rep your
100%.
boys.
Yeah.
The Bucks are probably going to be wanting to hunt for a top 3 seed in the East for Giannis to really make a solid push for MVP because history has dictated that unless you're a successful team, it's not likely you're going to be winning MVP.
No, unless you're Russell Westbrook.
Unless you're averaging a triple-double. But again, that's something...
Who the fuck does that? Like, you gotta be an absolute madman who doesn't care about winning to do that. Wink, wink.
Yeah. I like Westbrook.
Any Thunder fans out there?
I'm going to ignore that comment. I think Giannis is definitely going to be in the hunt for a 30-10 season, tack on 6 assists and then a steal and a block.
I reckon 2 steals, 2 blocks.
2 steals, 2 blocks?
He did it 2 seasons ago.
Did he really?
Yeah.
My God.
You didn't even know.
It's like Hakeem Olajuwon playing point forward.
It's not fair.
So, fantasy owners, top 3 pick right there. He's going to be a top 3 pick in your fantasy draft for sure.
I've never played fantasy, but I want to one day.
It's lots of fun. You should look into it.
Build a team around Tony Snell.
One thing... Oh, my God. One thing that people have been talking about for Giannis for years is his need to develop a reliable jump shot.
Yeah, that's...
What do you think, as a Bucks fan, do you feel like it's necessary for Giannis to develop a jump shot to get the maximum amount of, to lead his team to more wins? Or do you feel like with his skill set as is, he's more than capable of leading the team?
I think currently his skill set is more than capable, definitely. It's just a matter of how dangerous he can really be on offense. So if let's say he did have that 3-point shot, something like, let's say he shot 36%, I don't know, something pretty good like that, for a lanky guy. If he shot 36% from 3 on like 2 or 3 attempts a game, how do you stop him? Because you got to guard him out on the perimeter a bit more than you do now. He's going to drop 35 a game maybe. But if you look at what he's done, he's had like a 28 and a 27 season with not really a total jump shot. Granted, his mid-range is actually not too bad anymore.
He seems to have a bit of a post-fadeaway
He does. I always get scared when he shoots that, but that's all right. I don't think he necessarily needs it. He's already doing what he's doing without it. And then if you look at, what everybody says, and they're all like, holy shit, and look at this long dude, and he's doing all this crazy stuff. And then they go ahead and they go, oh, but he needs a jump shot. But it's like, well, not really, because look what you've just been saying he's doing. Yeah. I don't think it's quintessential that he gets like a reliable outside shot, but it would be cool.
You definitely think it would be a worthwhile addition?
Oh, it's never not a worthwhile addition. No player in the league would be disadvantaged from having a good outside shot.
The thing is, I feel like with Giannis, if he were to develop a jump shot and start relying a bit more heavily on taking threes, he'll kind of take away from his ability to play like a Simmons and a LeBron, where if he's always getting into the paint and creating for his teammates, then that's where he's most effective, in a drive and dish kind of situation. And if he starts relying on threes, then you're kind of more likely to not create a better shot for your
That
teammate.
is true, but I think the relying on it part comes more down to the coaching, the game plan. Is the coach going to say, I want you to rely on this three? Is the coach going to say, just keep doing what you're doing and just shoot the three if it just happens to be like that? I think you just got to coach it into him, just to help him realize that what he's doing is already incredibly effective for the way we play. So there's no need for you to go out there and, take that extra step and launch it a little bit, per se. It's all a coaching decision, I think that. But having the shot would definitely be useful, because if it does get to that like low shot clock situation, that sort of crunch time sort of stuff, where it's like, well, who do we give the ball to? Our best player. He's got more options.
And under Budenholzer, there's definitely the potential for a 3-point shot to become effective, as we saw when he coached the Atlanta Hawks to 60 wins in 2015. That was a jump shooting team.
Spurs light.
Yeah, exactly. So if there's any time for Giannis to do it, it's now. Do you think he's going to do it though?
Do I think he's going to get that shot?
Yeah.
Not soon.
Not soon.
He's only like 22, 23, so he's got time.
Jeez.
Maybe when he's young. 26, maybe.
That boy young as hell.
He's got heaps of time to do that. Like, LeBron didn't really start shooting that three a lot until last couple of years, I'm pretty sure.
Kawhi as well.
Kawhi as well. He wasn't a shooter when he was drafted. He was a defender.
But we don't talk about Kawhi.
We don't talk about snakes in here.
Yeah. Another thing about Giannis, an underrated part, what a lot of people seemed to have forgotten. Last year, he was first team all defense.
He wasn't this year, which annoyed me. Robert Covington was. That's some bullshit right there.
Robert Covington had a great season, but the thing is with Giannis is that he's got the ability to play in that switch everything defense because of his length and his athleticism and his
quickness,
foot speed. Exactly. Do you think Giannis is going to be in the hunt for Defensive Player of the Year this year?
Always. He's always going to be looking for it. Whether or not it happens, I don't know, but he's always going to be looking for it 100%. He's got a motor where he wants to be in that position. Like, Michael Jordan did it, a whole bunch of these big names did it, I'm sure. I was going to say Ben Wallace, but that's not a big name. He's not important. But yeah, it's just, you kind of get these, like, great of the greats. They're all solid defensive players, generally speaking. He's definitely going to be looking to be up on that level, where it's like, I'm contending for DPOY and MVP, bro.
Yeah, it'd be a great addition to the resume for sure.
Drink smoothie. Yeah.
I want to talk about Thonmaker now.
Yes.
As a hometown boy, as an Aussie. Thonmaker from Sydney, from Sudan, but we say Sydney just because.
It says Sydney on the pre-game intros, so I'm going to go ahead and just say Sydney.
We'll take whoever we can get. We don't get a lot of NBA players out of here.
Literally none, actually.
Thonmaker's going to be soaring to this next season in the same way that he soared into the little Filipino guys that he tried to take their heads off with a flying kick.
Fucked them up. Black Bruce Lee.
I've said he was going to be here. I've said here he's going to be the starting center for Milwaukee, as Jethro just shows me a picture of. Damn, that boy.
He's
that
big.
boy's so tall.
He's 7'1".
Jethro's not even up to his shoulders, man. That's.
Yeah.
Man,
He's big.
He's a big boy. I've said here he's probably going to be the starting center for Milwaukee, but I've just learned from Jethro that the Bucks have just signed Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not going to be looking at
Power forward, for sure.
power forward off the bench.
Ooh.
You could run Giannis at 3, Thon at the 4.
And then Lopez at the
And
5.
Snell not in the starting lineup.
Man, that makes me sad. But it's not a bad idea. If you were to... Because, well... It depends who you put at shooting guard. So, my ideal lineup is... I'm stuck on this. Either Bledsoe or Brogdon at the 1, Chris Middleton at the 2, Giannis at the 3, Thon at the 4, Lopez at the 5. John Henson waived. I don't like John Henson. That's kind of what I want to see going on. But I think if we were to run Thon at the 4, he might not start because we'd probably run Bledsoe and Brogdon on at the same time to start at the 1 and 2, and then Thon would kind of fill in because you move Giannis to the 4 and Chris to the 3. So it really depends where Budenholzer wants to put him. That's going to kind of affect where he starts because, I mean, Brook Lopez is good, but there's still no guarantee he starts at the 5. That's the thing. He may come on. He may want to come off the bench.
He may. Another thing with Thonmaker, it seems Thonmaker has... He seems to get an amount of blocks just based on his height and his wingspan and his athleticism.
He does.
But he still seems to be a defensive liability from the Bucks games that I've watched.
Yes and no. It's a weird situation. Overall, his defense, it's not hindered by his effort. He's 100% trying. It's hindered by the fact that he's not always sure of what's going on the court. He just looks lost, which is something it's probably Jason Kidd's fault, I would like to say. And that's something Budenholzer can fix in a new scheme. Well, actually, it's Josh Broghammer's fault because he was Sean Sweeney's fault because he was the defensive coach. But the point is, it was a shitty scheme, and he was just lost. He's definitely trying his best. There's no doubt about it. I think it's just a matter of time before he realizes, like, oh, this is what's going on. I better defend. But then also, if he's played at the 5, there's a problem with he's tall, but he's not wide. He's pretty light. He's not bulky.
Could you imagine Thonmaker trying to guard Steven Adams?
It's not gonna work. That just doesn't work.
That's not gonna work.
That's probably why I reckon Budenholzer does put him at the 4, because generally speaking, not always, but the player at the 4 that he's going to be going up against on defense at least is not going to be as big as the 5. If we use a Steven Adams example, who's the 4 on the Thunder? I don't even know, to be honest.
It was Carmelo. I reckon they're going to run Jeremy Grant at the 4.
Cool. So Jeremy Grant on Thonmaker. That's not a bad matchup.
You can respect that matchup. You can leave him to guard Jeremy Grant.
Given he's not lost on the court, I can see him working that out and playing some good defense. But if you put him at the 5 against Steve Adams, Steve Adams is going to feast. He's too big. He's good as well, but he's big as well.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
In terms of offense for Thonmaker, how do you want to use Thonmaker on the offensive end? Because it seems like his shooting is definitely usable, but I don't think he's good enough to kind of be a reliable all-around offensive player on a team looking for the top 3 seed.
He's definitely not going to be down there in the post or pulling up and hitting mid ranges. A lot of his scoring is going to be assisted scoring for sure. Whether it be kickouts to the 3 and he's going to hit the shot ideally, maybe even lobs to him because he's pretty athletic, backdoor cuts, that kind of stuff. I don't remember if he got much of a hook shot, but let's say he had a good hook shot. Cut into the lane, throw up a quick hook, get it in. It's all going to be assisted scoring. At no point necessarily, outside of weird lineups, maybe is Thon going to be the number 1 guy and he's going to be like creating plays and looking around, doing dribbles and shit like that. It's mostly going to be given to him, and then all right, that's your shot, take it, and then someone's getting an assist off that for sure.
Would you rather Thon be a roll man or a spot up shooter?
Roll man, it's more exciting, but spot up shooter is probably where he belongs.
Fair enough. Now, let's talk about the new addition. One, Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez.
My guy.
He seems to be a solid floor stretcher. He's willing and able to take threes. Last season on the Lakers, he took 4.5 three-point attempts a game and shot them a solid 35%. So
not bad.
You definitely got to go out and put a hand up with Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is a big body. That's the most important thing that that's the most important thing that the Bucks have been looking to add to their roster for a very long time, because the Bucks have always seemed to get killed on the boards.
Big time. Yeah, John Henson's been there for too long.
The big centers always seem to have a field day against the Bucks. The rebounders, the boxers, screen setters.
I mean, not anymore, but Steven Adams and stuff is the same good example. Even Serge Ibaka on the Raptors, that was one of our biggest problems in that playoff series 2 years ago. We could have done it, I'm sure, but my God, down the stretch, Serge would just out-rebound us to shit.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't get anything over him.
So, Brook Lopez, he's getting up there. He's a 31 years old?
He's 31, I'm pretty sure.
31?
He's not young.
So, he's getting up there, but he's kind of at that age where he can act as a mentor, and he's got really high-quality basketball IQ, and he plays his role really well. He seems to be very happy to play a role.
Yeah.
When he was part of the Brooklyn Nets a couple of years ago, he was used as the primary offensive player, and he was getting 20 points. Last season on the Lakers, he seemed to be a bit unhappy with his position, but that's because his coaching seemed to just utilize him as a pure spot-up shooter.
Outside of the coaching, I guess you could call it disagreement. Outside of that, though, I just don't think he fit in with that team in general. The kind of the motif of young guys run on the floor, slamming the dunks, shooting the threes.
Dunking the slams.
And then tanking. But other than that, Lakers fans. But yeah, he just didn't kind of really fit in with that, because he doesn't really, he's not a fast guy. He's a big boy, but he's not really there to run the floor and, soar up there and boom and slam that shit and do all that Lakers stuff that they love to do. Showtime and all the crap bandwagoners say. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. He just didn't fit in.
Are you excited for all the Lakers fans to start coming out of the woods on r/NBA?
Man, I saw a thing the other day where it's like the amount of subscribers the Cleveland Cavaliers sub lost versus the Lakers gained was like 300,000.
Yeah, it's those 12-year-olds with the new iPhones. Oh, that's some prime speed shit posting right there.
Fuck. I feel bad for the Lakers subreddit. I'm sure it was okay before when they were bad.
No, it was terrible.
It was bad?
It's a toxic wasteland.
Have you seen the Knicks subreddit? That's my favorite pastime, is going and watching
I don't ever go there. I don't hate myself.
Man, after Giannis's last game winner against the Knicks, the one where he spun into the lane and laid it up and then did a stank face and I was mad, I went to that subreddit just to check out what was going on, and everybody was imploding. That was the game Kristaps unfortunately tore his ACL, which was sad. I like Kristaps. He's a great guy. It is, rip in peace. But they were all like, it was between we're going to be nothing forever, which is pretty funny for me. I'm not a big Knicks fan. And also people were wishing death upon our team for allegedly tearing Kristaps' ACL, which we didn't do it. We're not trying to kill people.
It's just a bit bad luck, man.
It is. It's just bad luck. Like, we've been through this twice, right? You guys be fine. But yeah, it was funny as fuck. The whole subreddit was just imploding.
So, going back to Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
He seems to... Well, he doesn't seem... He has increased the rebounding percentage of the team when he's on the floor, and it seems to have been a higher percentage from when he's on the floor compared to when he's off the floor.
I think it's a matter of that. It's that IQ he has, so he knows what he's doing out there. He's been playing in the league for a while. Sure, he only averaged like 5 rebounds a game in the last 2 seasons or something not ideal like that for a 7-footer.
That doesn't really say the whole story.
It doesn't, because what he's doing is he's getting himself in the right position to, sure, grab the rebound if it comes his way, but allow everybody else on his team to grab the rebound. Because what's more important is that the team gets the rebound and not Brook Lopez gets the rebound. He's boxing out the right guys. He knows where he needs to be. That's what's key. And when you look at a team like the Bucks, where everyone's so long, you've got guys, you got Giannis and Chris and Thon and heck, even Bledsoe, all guys who can get 10 rebounds on any given night. And when you put Brook Lopez in the right spot, getting the loose ones and boxing out the right guys, we're going to be a pretty good rebounding team if he does what he's been doing.
Well, we'll see. Only time will tell if the Bucks rebounding improved.
And that's why I'm scared. I want to know now.
No, you can't be bothered. You don't want to wait that long.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for... Sorry. You know the song?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's a good song.
Oh, boy.
Pretty much. It sums it up. I'm sorry.
Let's go to another person that the Bucks have added in the off-season, which may or may not improve their rebounding. Ersan Ilyasova, who...
Third stint with the Bucks.
Is this his third stint with the Bucks?
I don't remember if we drafted him. Probably not. But we had him, and then he went somewhere else, and we had him again, and he went to Spain, and then he came back, and now he's back with us.
He just can't get away from you.
He can't get away from us. Ersan is the Bucks. The Turkish Thunder never dies.
The Turkish Thunder.
Turkish Thunder never dies.
See, he actually used to play on the Thunder.
He did that too. Yeah.
So
we called him that before the Thunder was
you
a
claim
thing.
that. Maybe it was foreshadowing.
It was probably foreshadowing for Seattle moving to Oklahoma. I mean, the mental gymnastics I need to get there is quite the spectacle, but trust me,
It
I know
makes
what I'm
sense
doing.
if you don't think about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, Ersan Ilyasova he's improved every single team that he's been on, but he's never been a changer. He's never changed the way a team operates.
No.
A team never runs anything around him. He's just there to serve a role, and he does his role really well. He's always been an active player. He's lethal from outside. He's an okay rebounder. He's in his last season with the Philadelphia 76ers, when they added him in the second half of the season, he always seemed to be the one to be chasing down offensive rebounds, which were loose.
He was effective.
So he's definitely going to be a worthwhile addition for the Bucks. He's here on a 1-year deal. What are you hoping out of Ersan Ilyasova?
Stretch the floor and get boards. That's all we need him to do, realistically. We don't need him to pull up. We don't need him to cut back door. We just need him to keep the floor open for Giannis. Hit the shot when he needs to hit the shot and chase down those loose offensive boards, really. That's it. Bring a lot of heart, bring a lot of soul, bring a lot of hustle, bring a lot of Turkish food, a lot of Turkish delight, hit some threes.
How many minutes do you expect him to get out of Ersan Ilyasova on any night?
10 to 15 easy. At that 4 spot for sure.
Value.
Or, I mean, 5 at the small ball, but I don't think we run small ball. Too many big guys.
The Bucks have just acquired a lot of centers, so there's going to be some contest for minutes, kind of in that 4-5 spot.
Yeah, we're probably going to make a trade at some point before the season. I'm feeling with Henson.
Yeah, he's a popular Bucks player, isn't he?
Oh man,
all the Bucks fans I know seem to love John Henson.
Fucking letdown. Yeah, he's gone. He's probably gonna get traded. We need anything but Henson. We don't even have a need necessarily. Just the need is to not have Henson in the minutes rotation, taking up time.
What do you think's a realistic trade to lose John Henson?
Anything for an expiring deal. Henson takes up too much of our cap right now. If we were to package him with like Delly and DJ Wilson or just anyone really who's not horrible or has promise. I mean, I don't really think DJ Wilson has a lot of promise, but that's all right. A lot of people might think that he does. But there's some value in those two players to trade for like a really expensive expiring so that he just comes off the books next season. We don't re-sign him like a Luol Deng or something, you know? I'm not saying the Lakers make that trade, but he's a kind of player we might trade for, or a Shumpert. Anyone with 1 year left on their deal is the kind of guy we would trade for Henson and then see what we can do at this guy, bench him, use him. Who cares? Because he's gone the next season. Money's off the books.
I feel like the Kings are less likely to accept a Henson for Shumpert trade, specifically because they have so many centers at this point.
That's true. Plus, Iman Shumpert's like the second greatest player of all time, so... No, he's not.
I'm just going to skip past that one.
He's one of those NBA players that just... You don't really know what he's doing or where he went.
He used to be good. He was when the Cavs first acquired him. He was good. He started some games.
No doubt.
He was a defensive stopper in the 2015 finals.
And then the season after, they lost in 5 to the first. So it was the first Warriors run with Kevin Durant. I think he had like statistically the worst finals performance of any player of all time or something crazy like that.
That wouldn't surprise me.
He focuses more on his hair than his game, but
yeah, that was an interesting series to watch. His career's really kind of taken a turn due to factors within himself and outside. It hasn't really worked out for Iman Shumpert.
It's all that rapping he does.
It's all that
poisoning
all
the
that
brains.
damn gangster rap music.
All the hip hop and the jive and everything. Man, it's bad for you kids. Iman Shumpert is definitely a child.
Now we're kind of on the home stretch here. I want to talk about a subject that you're very passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
Being Christopher Middleton.
Literally, James Christopher Middleton, spelt with a K, is my favorite NBA player of all time. Literally number 1. I know we got Giannis. I know there's LeBron. I know there's a bunch of great players, but Chris is my number 1 guy. Hands down.
Is Chris Middleton a top 100 player of all time?
Chris Middleton is the 36th best player in the league.
He's currently the 36th
best player in the league, I would say.
Okay. I haven't got a list of the other 35s you got.
Neither do I. But I saw Sports Illustrated or was it ESPN? Someone did a top 100 and he was 46th. I think they did him dirty. He's 36th. But they put him ahead of DeRozan, and that gives me great satisfaction, as Chris is officially the number one mid-range shooter in the game today.
I remember in that article they also had Jay Crowder ahead of DeMar DeRozan.
Yep, but Jay Crowder looks like he's from Migos, and that gets him a couple points for sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd go along with that. Let's talk about, it seems, according to Zach Lowe,
yeah.
reporter for ESPN, he's
someone
stated,
who actually watches the Bucks games, by the way. I respect Zach Lowe's opinion.
Yeah, Zach Lowe seems to have really garnered some respect among a lot of NBA fans as being very reputable and having good knowledge. He's stated that the Milwaukee front office has made Middleton available for trade. Do you think that's the right idea?
He's not wrong. Here's the thing. Chris has never been untouchable, which it burns me to my core, but it's true. He's not being shopped is the distinction I think people may not make on their own. So let's make a really ridiculous hypothetical. Let's say the Spurs offered the Bucks, hey, we'll give you Kawhi and literally anyone else. It doesn't matter. Someone they don't want. We'll give you him for Chris and a pick. Are the Bucks likely to take that if they think Kawhi will stay? Yes, because as much as it hurts to say Kawhi is better than Chris, that's a fact. It's just, come on, this is quite what Lennon were talking about. He's a snake, but whatever. They would take that, but they're not necessarily looking to trade Chris. And that's what I'm all on the Twitters, I'm on the Instagrams, I'm in the comments, and I'm talking shit to casual fans who probably know less than me because I'm an all-knowing Chris Middleton being. Mm-hmm. By the way, don't read Instagram comments on about basketball. They know nothing. But yeah, people are always like, why would you trade Chris? Oh, and they're getting mad. And I love that they're getting mad because everyone recognizes how good he is and how good he is for the Bucks. But I think people need to just dial it back because he's not being shopped. He's just, look, if someone gives us like Lillard, we'll be like, well, I guess if you want Chris, it takes that to get Lillard. Let's get Lillard. You know? Yeah. He's there for the big trades, but we're not trying to get rid of him. I think if anything, we're trying to re-sign him in 2 years left. So whenever that contract extension comes around, we're looking to give him the money he deserves.
What players are you willing to acquire in a Chris Middleton deal?
Oh, that's hard.
Well, think about the players that the Bucks will be looking for, the type of player that the Bucks will be looking for. You've got a lot of names who seem to be on the market. The whole Toronto roster, Kevin Love, Kemba Walker.
So if we have to make a trade for any of those guys, I would want Kemba because he can do a lot of what we need. If we had to trade Chris in that,
would you swap? Would you swap Kemba for Chris?
I wouldn't swap them at all. I feel like we actually lose too much in that because not only does Chris shoot the same shots as Kemba, but he rebounds more. He's bigger. He's a better defender than Kemba. We would need something extra than Kemba. I think in terms of how a player fits in a system, Chris is a little better. There may be a huge chunk of bias in that. Generally, everything I say has a huge chunk of bias in it anyway, but that's all right. I'm only human. I think if we were to make that Kemba trade, I don't think Chris would be one of the parts of that deal, though. I think someone like a Bledsoe or a Brogdon would be part of that deal. And then, their GM is Michael Jordan, so probably, we would re-sign Marshall Plumlee and trade him because they like big white guys over there, which is fine. It's no big deal.
They love big, juicy white guys.
Yeah. So we definitely wouldn't be able to get Frank Kaminsky in that deal. But I don't think Chris is the kind of guy you trade for a Kemba. I think Chris is the kind of guy you trade for a DeRozan. Because they
You think he's worth that much?
I think he's worth more than DeRozan in my heart.
Oh, okay.
But,
See, now I know you're just talking out of your ass.
Yeah, I am talking out my ass. But if I feel like in terms of, what the player does for a team, whilst the value, if we would look at Kawhi again, the value of what Chris and Kawhi can do for a team is very skewed. Kawhi is being more valuable. I think it's the same sort of positional basketball. So they both can play the three. So you would probably trade somewhat a 3 for a 3 with some sweeteners on either end, whether it be a pick or another player with value or someone you can just dump salary for. I don't think Chris is going to be part of a Kemba deal necessarily. And I hope I'm not proved wrong. I hope it doesn't just happen like tomorrow and all of a sudden my hopes and dreams are crushed and that Chris has gone to the Hornets. God forbid. But I just don't see him as being a huge part of a deal for a guard.
So by the playoffs...
Especially when we have a lot of guards right now, by the way.
Yeah.
We have a lot of guards as well.
So by the playoffs next season, what do you expect the Bucks starting roster to look like and what do you want it to look like?
So what I expect it to look like is, I don't think...
Starting five.
Starting five. All right. I think Brogdon starts at the 1 by then because I think we trade Bledsoe for who knows. I say it's Brogdon. I say it's Chris at the 2, Giannis at the 3. If I don't think we trade for another 4, so I reckon Ersan probably starts at the 4, and I reckon Brook Lopez starts at the 5. I reckon that's what we'll have come playoff time.
Starting 4 being Ersan Ilyasova might be a good deal because if he provides value, then giving him a starting position will tempt him to return on a longer term deal.
That too. If he can really bring it, and he does, if the Turkish Thunder is back, baby, and I mean he is back, then why would we not re-sign him? But then again, his 3rd year is a player option, so if he really doesn't want to be here, he can just leave as well. But if it also means if he's useless, he can go. It doesn't matter.
That's true. What would you hope the Bucks starting roster to look like? Is that the one you want?
The one that I want to look like? I want it to look like, I want it to be Kemba, I want it to be Chris, I want it to be Giannis, I want it to be Thon, and I want it to be Lopez. I reckon the big change is just having Kemba. Like, I love Bledsoe. I think he's a cool dude off the court and on the court, but I think Kemba suits our needs better, being a more reliable shooter and a better dribbler.
How are you going to acquire Kemba Walker without... Because Michael Jordan has gone on record as saying that he wants nothing less than another all-star for Kemba.
I understand that. So I reckon what we trade for Kemba would be something like Bledsoe. Who do we have that's worth it? Well, you know that John Henson's pretty good. Oh. No, it would.
He's not wide enough.
Picks would be involved. We would send. He's pretty light skinned. We would send picks. We would send Bledsoe. If Bledsoe's a good season, we could maybe make that trade. And then I don't think we would package. I don't think we would send Dante or anything like that. He's definitely staying with us. Michael Jordan likes him. I'm hearing. So if that's what it takes to get a Kemba, then maybe we do it. It's guards for guards, really. We're not sending a center. They don't need centers. Yeah. They would probably also dump Nicola Batum on us for his salary.
Would you be able to afford that?
Depends on if the owners want to pay luxury tax. He's got a big contract. Yeah. I think he's like $20 million or something a year.
Especially when you consider Milton's got 2 years left. He signed a 5-year, $70 million deal a few seasons ago.
Great value.
Great value. I feel like the opinion on Chris Milton has really changed because when he signed that contract, people were screaming overpaid.
Yeah, dude. He was literally an afterthought in that Brandon Knight trade when we acquired him. It was like, by the way, you guys can have Chris. We'll keep Kim English. Swindled.
I don't even remember that trade. I don't remember that name at all.
Yeah, Kim English is bad.
Man, that turned out to be a pretty positive trade for the Bucks for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like we're at the end. There you have it. Milwaukee Bucks covered 2018-2019 season. Helping hand here by Jethro Barnes. Jethro, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
I'd just like to say I am the only Bucks fan in Australia, so help me God.
You're probably one of many, many Bucks fans in Australia.
But how many went to Milwaukee on their own?
How many Americans have gone to Milwaukee by themselves?
That's a great question. Not many.
Probably too many.
Man, the amount of people over there were shocked when they found out that I came all the way from Australia. They're like, what the fuck? All right. It was good. It's good.
Milwaukee, not quite as bad as Philadelphia.
Not quite as bad as Detroit.
We all know on this podcast, I fucking hate Philadelphia.
Oh, I thought I was the only one. Holy shit. Fuck the process. Processed meats, bitch.
Fuck you, Philadelphia. Fuck Philadelphia. All right.
Fuck Philadelphia.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Gravestone.
Episode 4 of the podcast. Bit of a longer one, bit more of an entertaining one.
Ooh, 43 minutes.
If you'd like to stick around, episode 5 will be coming out relatively soon. We'll be covering a different team for the upcoming season. I'm thinking maybe my Minnesota Timberwolves, if I'm lucky.
Brooklyn Nets.
No, that's not going to happen.
Okay. I love Spencer Dinwiddie. He's great.
Thanks very much for listening. Hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. Fuck Philadelphia.
Bucks in 6.
Bucks in 6.
Yeah.